Hold on. Good morning, Rabbi Isai.
I get Morgan.
Oh, they're singing with us. Oh, Hashem Yerachem. Today's Shiur is being sponsored. What happened here? Why do I hear myself? Yishkoyach, Rabbi Isai. Today's Shiur is being sponsored by a very, very good friend. We'll wait patiently. I wanted to start a couple of minutes early, and now I have to start a couple of minutes late. That's Stefansky that you hear. What's coming out 10 seconds later? Oh. Gershon, what's going on? Oh, I can go? Rabbi said today's Shiur is being sponsored by Kalman of Five Towns. I have a tremendous akar to Kalman. He started that whole Five Towns matzav. So it's Eli Nishmas, his mother, Chaya Bas Yisroel. Today's Shiur is being sponsored by Shlomi Rosenberg, another very good friend of the Shiur, for the first yahrzeit of my dearest eldest brother, Lilu Nishmas, Reb Moshe Yitzchok ben Reb Dov, Zechroinu Levracha, the Neshamas should have an aliyah. I have a real quick email here. Hold on, we have a little bit of an issue. It's either... I can't hear myself. Hi, Rebelli. This is from Kalman. My mom was an extraordinary woman. I don't do this usually, but because Kalman is such a good friend of the Shiur, I'll go out of my way a little bit here. She's an extraordinary woman. Like my dad, she was also a Holocaust survivor from Bergen-Belsen and was born in Poland. She raised two boys, love each other, 6 grandchildren, she loved dearly. She had a difficult life. She never spoke about it, but she was married for 50 years, etc. She's going to see her husband in Olam Haba. May her neshama have an aliyah. I miss you, Mom. I love you. Say hi to Dad from me. Wow. Okay, and here's a picture. Only for Kalman we're doing this. Only a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Kalman, this is his mom's matzeva. All right. The neshama should have an aliyah. Rabbi said a lot of people were concerned that I called Reb Mordechai Ness Am Haaretz in public. I called him out because he had a hole in his yediyas. He didn't realize that Amud Aleph is always longer and more difficult than Amud Beis. So I had to point that out to him. So he says, Chazdi Hashem, people are like, Erev, Rosh Hashanah, this is how you talk to somebody. Chazdi Hashem, I'm an official Amaritz, he says. He was honored. Of course he was. I only call people out, the ones that I understand, that they understand my warped sense of humor. I think we should get a free T-shirt that says Reb Eli called me an Amaritz, and now I do the daf. And a discount on the Sima Shas cruise. By the way, I'm not kidding. Somebody sent me an email yesterday that there's a cruise ship, the holiday cruise ship from Carnival, because of what's going on with Corona, it's for sale. We should look into it. No, it's a few $1 million. It's something that costs $1 billion. You get it for. It probably costs more money, I'm assuming, just to hold it until the Siyum Shas than the actual ship. Right. That's right. But this is not a boat. This is a cruise ship, and this is for the Siyum. So I think it's a good investment. We got to speak to our friends. A good voch.
You could buy it and put it in your backyard and hold on to it.
YouTube, notice the sponsor for today's Shiur, Eliyahu Shalom from Brooklyn, and he is my cousin. His father's father and my father were brothers. Just thought it was crazy to have yet another connection with someone who watches this shiur. This is the 6th personal connection since the Siyum Masechtas Shabbos. Harry Shalom is also related to Leon Welch, right? Is that the right one? Or I'm mixing something up? Oh, no, that's the other one from Vienna. A good vach. What just happened? Oh, he understands the problem. Great. Looking forward to being there in person when they soon meet Hashem. Aaron Yosef Shalom, Los Angeles, also known as Harry Shalom. It's late. Okay, we'll have to get to the other ones a different time. Here's a quick one. This is from Yosef Mack. Hi, Rebellia. I'm from Passaic, but in Liberty, New York for the summer. I joined your Zoom share. Also, I want to let you know my father watches your share, and my sister's father-in-law, Mr. Abraham from Melbourne, Australia, who's Hillel's brother, used to join Zoom share. I was sharing Wednesday, joined with my phone earlier. Do me a favor, shut that thing off because I can't concentrate when I hear myself. Okay, fine. Rabbi, so real quickly, I just want to make an announcement here. I'm looking for partners, people that will go along with me. Yes, I tried this out for you guys, and it works. I was looking for more schusim l'kavod Rosh Hashanah, and I thought to myself, what could be better than getting rid of the smartphone? Meaning, the social media, I used WhatsApp yesterday, but only for the essential things. I didn't open up any of the videos. No Fox News, CNN, none of this stuff. You're in? How about you? All right, so we got a bunch of, you're in? All right, we got a bunch of guys here. Rabbi Sai, seriously, if you're in, I'm telling you, I actually got more sleep because of this. And I didn't lose anything. It's not going to get to you because you don't have a smartphone. A lot of people don't have smartphones. There's a lot of Yungalite on here that don't have smartphones. People that have smartphones, if you do Facebook and Instagram, cut it out on Torah Shoshana. That's it. Just get rid of it. Cold turkey. I'm telling you, it's kedai. If anybody is in, let me know. Drop me an email. I'll talk about it tomorrow. Maybe we could two-wave something. At least for me, it works until Rosh Hashanah Be'ezer Hashem. So be my partner in that. Another quick announcement I want to make is, I forgot to mention that we have a kollel. Usually it's not in this building, but we were zeicha this week to be in the building. We're going to be until Rosh Hashanah because the yeshiva is out of commission because of Corona. This kollel, we started the kollel in Brachas Daf Beis. We want to build Talmidei Chachamim, and we have Leiby David that's part of it. They took a test this week on 120 daf. Balpeh. Imagine 120 daf, and now soon they're going to have to take the test from the beginning of Brachas, which is how many daf? 254 daf. 250. Can you imagine? I barely remember what I learned yesterday, the day before, and they're going to be taking a test on 250. I just wanted to tell you about this kollel. It's an amazing thing that we're doing here, and that's why a lot of the sponsorship money goes towards these guys. Not just another kollel, but it's kollel that they're trying to learn Shas and know Shas. All right. We're holding on Daf Lamed Vav Amud Aleph. We stopped in the middle of a sentence, so we're going to continue from the sentence. We actually read it. We'll explain it a little bit more today. What we have is, we're talking about the case of a person touching his dead friend. He doesn't know whether he was dead when he touched him or he was alive when he touched him. Remeir is Mekel. Remeir says it's fine. He's not tummy. We could assume that when he touched him, he was alive. Why? Chazaka. The guy was alive for let's call him 120 years. He was alive for 120 years. So we're going to assume that when he touched him, he was still alive. The chazaka continues. Right now we found him dead. That's something else. Chacham go by what we find now. On the other hand, when it comes to Eruv, you see that Remeir is Mekel. So why is it?
Eli.
Says the Gemara, Rava Amar, Hasam Trei Cheski Lekula, Chazaka Lekula. So Rava says, even if we have this case of that there's two sets of Edom, but nevertheless, by here there's two chazakas. What are the two chazakas? Chazaka number one is what we just mentioned. A guy is alive. He has a chazaka that he's alive. So the fact that you found him dead afterwards, we have to assume that when you touched him, he was alive, because he was alive before. He was alive yesterday, the day before yesterday. The second chazaka is that the person that did the touching, he was tar. He had a chazaka that he was tar. He was in the state of tahara. So why assume that he's tameh? So these two chazakas come and they knock out anything that has to do with the Eid. V'hacha, but when it comes to an Eruv, chada chazaka lekula. There's only one chazaka that the food was tar. You're talking about truma that became tameh. It only has one chazaka versus the case of a dead person where Meir is more makel, because over there there's two chazakas, so he's more makel. Okay. New sugya. Not really. Kasha de Rabbi Yosi ad Rabbi Yosi. So, in the Mishnah, we have, Rabbi Yosi says, that when it comes to a Suffolk Eruv, I don't know, something happened to my Eruv, I'm not sure when. It burnt. I don't know if it burnt right when I left it, Erev Shabbos, or burnt once Shabbos came in. And if it was there for one moment during Shabbos, it's a good Eruv. So I don't know. What does Rabbi Yosi say? Suffolk Eruv kosher. Anytime I have a Suffolk in an Eruv, it's a good Eruv. Now, we had the whole sugi yesterday. A guy goes into the mikveh and he's not sure if it had arba'im saw. He's not sure if he dunked his whole head into the mikveh. He's not sure if he went into mikveh A or mikveh B. Oh, Lili Lishmas, Rusbas Mordechai, Shkoyach. Shkoyach. Who was it today? I don't know. No. Okay, thanks, Noam. No, the guy that's in charge of the screen usually puts it over there and I can read it. But something was going on with the sound. I don't know. So he was too busy. So I had to twist my neck and I couldn't, whatever. Next time. Says the Gemara, it's your fault, not my fault. Says the Gemara. So when you have a Suffolk Tefillah, he's not sure whether he's tar or not tar. In a Tefillah de Rabbana we're talking about. Not a Daraisa. Tefillah de Rabbana meaning he ate food that's tamei. Typically food that's tamei doesn't make him tamei. Chacham forced him to go to the mikvah. He dunked himself in water that was drawn water. Chacham said go to the mikvah. In that case, Rabbi Yosi says tamei. Has to go to the mikvah again. So again, when it comes to Eruv, Rabbi Yosi is very, very makel. He says Suffolk Eruv kosher. He's makel. When it comes to mikvah, he says Suffolk tuma tamei. Suffolk tefillah tamei. So why? Why is that? So the Gemara gives us three reasons. I'm going to try to finish a couple minutes early so the oilam can go to slichas. A lot of slichas start at 8 o'clock and they don't want to be late. So we're going to try to make Amud Aleph also quick. We saw the Svar the other day in Taisus. Tuma has a source in the Torah, right? Tuma is in the Torah. Just Chachamim elaborated on that, and they said, okay, other things are also tamei. Some Meila, Reb Yossi's machmir on Tuma. And he says you have to go to the mikveh again, because it really originates in the Torah. As the Gemara, but Eruv is not in the Torah. Eruv is made up by the Chachamim. Shabbos Nami Doraisi. What do you mean? Shabbos is also a Doraisa. Didn't we just say yesterday that Rabbi Kiva, Rabbi Meir, the Talmud of Rabbi Kiva says that Tchum is Doraisa? Because of Rabbi Yosi, Tchum the Rabbanan. He argues, he holds like the majority, that Tchum is only the Rabbanan, it's not the Reis. Made up. Another pshat. What's the difference between Eruv, that Rabbi Yosi is Mekel, and Tvila, that he's Machmir, Hadidei? When he says that he's Machmir, that's his own svara. Rabbi Yosi is a Machmir. So he says, Tvila, you have to be Toivel again. Hadirabei, our Mishnah that talks about Eruv, Suffolk Eruv, he's quoting his Rebbe, he doesn't hold like that. I'll prove it to you. The Ktani on Rabbi Yosi, it says in our Mishnah, Avtumos Hayid, Avtumos said a testimony, Mishum Chamisha Skenim, he said in the name of 5 Skenim, Shesafik Eruv Kosher. So Rabbi Yosi was only repeating over his Rebbe. He himself doesn't hold of it. Shema Mina, it's a great raya. Third pshat. What is the difference between an Eruv and a mikvah where Rabbi Yosi is Machmer and Mekel and an Eruv and Machmer and a mikvah? Rav Amar Hasamai the time of the Rabbi Yosi Hamed Tomei Al Cheskosoi Ve'ema Loi Tova. When it comes to somebody that's Tomei, he has a chazaka that he's Tomei. He was Tomei when he entered the mikvah. So just continue that status. Say he continues. Now, let's look in Rashi real quickly. Again, smack in the middle of the page. Rashi Dibra Maskal Hamed Tomei Al Cheskosoi. Chazaka lechumra ika lekula leka. There's one chazaka. Avamasnisen ika chazaka lekula ulechumra. Says Rashi, explains Rashi, when it comes to an Eruv, there's 2 chazakas. Lekula and lechumra. What? Ha meidadam acheskas techum beisai. Did a person make an Eruv? Who said? As is, every individual does not have an Eruv Tchum going on in his house. So there's a chazaka that he does not have a Tchum. V'amar lo Eruv. Okay, so that's one chazaka to say there is no Eruv. Now, Hame Truma Cheskos of Eruv. On the other hand, you could say that the Truma is great, it's in its place, it's not Tameh, and Memela, the Eruv is a good Eruv. Oh, so what do I do when I have two opposing chazakas? One tells me you did not make an Eruv, one tells me you did make an Eruv. Says Rashi, the Rabbanon lekula as linon. Since a tchum is the Rabbanon, so bye-bye. It's a good Eruv. We go lekula. Okay, so for that you need a Rashi. Says the Gemara, Tanya. Oh, Adarabba asked the Gemara, Hame mitvah chazkasoi ve'im aloi chasar. You have a mikvah. He went into the mikvah. Assume that it's a good mikvah. Why are you assuming that it's missing water? The mikvah shloi nimdan. And it was never measured. It never acquired a chazaka. It never had a chazaka to it. So I can't. If you measured the mikvah and you knew that it had our bam saw, and then later on you found out it doesn't, so the chazaka could continue. The original status was a good mikvah. You never measured it. You can't do so. Tanya. Safek Eruv kosher. It says in the Mishnah, anytime you have a suffix in an Eruv, according to Rabbi Yossi, as we just mentioned, it's kosher, he goes l'kula. We have 3 pshatim why. Eruv truma, how does it work? What does it mean? He used truma as his Eruv. So what exactly is the suffix? Suffix mi'ba'odyayim nitmas, suffix mishchasheichon nitmas. I don't know when exactly the tumah occurred to the truma. I come on Shabbos morning, I find a dead rat on the truma. When did the dead rat fall there? When did he die? Did he die on Friday afternoon after I put my Eruv and therefore it was never Eruv? Or did he die Friday night after nightfall and it was a perfect Eruv for one moment and that's all I need? Now, the Gemara is going to try to drill down to the bottom of this and figure out what does it mean, fruit. What kind of fruit are we talking about? Havamina? I don't know when the Trumas Maisrus. When did I fix these fruit? I had tevel. Tevel is Isser Deraisa. I can't eat from the fruit. If I eat from it, I die. It's not a good Eruv, right? If it's not, I can't eat from it. I can't eat from it. So it's not a good Eruv. But I don't know when it happened. When did it become? When were the Trumas Maisrus taken? Right before Shkia, right after. Suffolk Eruv kosher. These are the cases that's kosher. Aval Eruv betruma Suffolk Tahir Suffolk Tameya. But what if the fruit was never in a situation that it was 100% good? I never knew if it was good or not. It's not pshat that it was truma. It was a perfect Eruv. I just don't know when it got ruined. I don't know when the rat fell onto it. Was it before or after? That's not what happened there. What happened was, I don't even know if it was ever tar. Did I ever use something that was tar? So I never had a moment that this food was a good Eruv. Now, when did the suffix happen? Not by us, we know that it became tamei, we just don't know when. It's very possible it was a good Eruv. When I put it down, it was good, right? When I put it down Friday afternoon, I know it wasn't tamei. There was no rat on it. So at that point, it was good. Later on, it became tamei. And the same thing with fruit. If that's the case, I don't know if somebody took Trumas Maisrus, meaning I don't even know if it was good for a minute. Ain't a Suffolk Eruv kosher. That's not a Suffolk Eruv. That's nothing, because it never had a moment that was good. As the Gemara, when it comes to Truma, you say, this fruit, since I know that it's good Truma, it was good at one point, so the status continues. It has a chazaka, it continues on. So let's just say the same thing in the reverse. You have fruit that's tevel, it's isideraisa to eat. If you eat it, chayiv misa. So that's the status. Why assume that the status changed? Says the Gemara, we're not talking about a case where perhaps the fruit is good, or perhaps it's not good. Maybe somebody took Trumas and Maasros, maybe not. No, somebody took Trumas and Maasros 100%. So what's the problem? So therefore, it had a moment in time that it was good. What's the suffix? Suffix nidmu. Did tevel fall into it before Shabbos or after Shabbos? So again, you have a pile of fruit. Somebody took Trumas and Maasros. Great, that was good. Then off a shelf, fruit that no one took Trumas and Maasros from fell into it. It got into the mixture. Now no one could eat from it. No one could eat from it. There's tevel in here. Tevel, if I eat from this pile, I could be chayiv misa. But at one moment in time, it was good. Later on, the suffix came along. So it's the same kind of suffix. We have truma. I don't know when the tumah touched it. I have fruit that is 100% mutter to eat. I don't know when the rotten apple, the tevel apple, fell into it. Okay. Beautiful questions here. Boy, Rav Shmuel bar Rav Yitzchok Rav Huna. They asked Rav Huna. Hayu lefan of shteki kares. There were 2 loaves of bread that were truma right in front of him. Identical, impossible to differentiate between the 2. Achas tmeya ve'achas tahira. You know that one of them is 100% tamei, one of them is 100% tar. It's a very lamdish shayla, really. Think about it. Shnei shvilim, but is this considered a su'uda? I have food in front of me that I could eat, technically. If I have Ruach HaKodesh, I know which one is tar, I could eat. But right now, unfortunately, I don't have Ruach HaKodesh. I can't eat the bread. Is that considered a meal? Could I make an eruv out of this? There's one bread is 100% good to eat. I just don't know which one it is. Is it similar to a loaf of bread that's covered by a mound of stones, which I can't move? I have a bread, I just can't get to it. I have a bread, but over here it's a little different. Over here, the problem is in me. I don't know something. I'm missing information. The bread is 100% good. How do you look at it? And the guy said, I want to make an eruv out of the good one, the tar one. Says the Gemara, this is a big question according to everybody. According to Rabbi Meir, who says that when it comes to eruv, you have to be machmir. Rabbi Yosi. Right? What did Rabbi Meir say? Remember? I have to remind everybody. I have to get my money's worth. Cham or gamel, remember? You have a suffix. You could only go in between. So Tibai Rabbi Meir, according to Rabbi Meir, who's machmir, you have a suffix. Tibai Rabbi Yosi, who says suffix eruv kosher. I also have a kasha here. Why? Tibai Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Meir hasam deleket tahira. When there's nothing tar in front of me, then Rabbi Meir says I have to be machmer. But over here, one of the loaves is 100% kosher. Maybe Rabbi Yosi, who's mekel, he only said in the case ela hasam dim isa di tahira yodala. So Rashi says, if he can identify it, then it's tar. So, but right now we'll use the chazaka, says Rashi. I use a chazaka that it's tar. It was tar before, so it continues to be tar. But over here, forget about chazaka, it continues to be tar. I just don't know which one it is. Over there in the Mishnah, we have it in front of us. We know exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about this loaf of bread. Is this loaf of bread tahar before or tar after? When did tame before or tame after? Okay. So over there, Rabbi Yosi is mekel. And I'm going to use, why is he going to be mekel? Because I'm going to use the chazaka. It was always tahar, this loaf of bread. Let's assume that it was tar during Ben Hashmashas when I tried to make it an eruv. But over here, that's not the question. One of them is 100% tar, but I can't identify it. If I can't identify it, even Rabbi Yosi will agree, no good. It's not a good eruv. Amalei, Bein Rabbi Yosi, Bein Rabbi Meir, Be'inon Suda Haru'uyam Me'ba'idayim V'leka. It's a physical thing, Rabbi say. I have to be able to eat it. If I cannot bite into this piece of bread because I don't know something, I lack information, then it's not a good meal. You don't know which one is tar. You cannot eat it right now. Not a good eruv. Okay. So if it's not a good eruv, it's not even a chamor gamel. It's nothing. You can't use it as a suffix to go from here to here. It's zero. Not a suffix where I could go. It's a big zero. I can't use it at all. Another question. What if a person says, very interesting, you see this loaf of bread? Right now, it's not hegdish. It's chayil. I could eat it. I would like this loaf of bread to become hegdish. When? Tomorrow. On Shabbos. Now, an eruv is chal during Ben HaShmoshes. When it's suffix day, suffix night. I want to use this bread as my eruv. So two things are going on here. First of all, I want to make this bread into hegdish. I'm donating it to the Beis HaMikdash. I also want to make this bread my eruv. What's the halacha? Mao. So what's the question? Whether or not his neder, his hegdish is chal immediately in the beginning of Bein HaShmoshes, and therefore he doesn't have a bread to make an eruv with, or perhaps at the end of Bein HaShmoshes. So he had a moment over there. Omar lei, eruv, it's a good eruv. What do you see from here? If we stop right over here, what do you see? You see that we care about what this guy's intent is. What's his ratzon? His intent was he wants a loaf of bread to be an eruv. So let's make it work out for him. How do we make it work out for him? That, excuse me, that it's not hegdish in the beginning of the night. When Bein HaShmoshes comes in, it's still chayil. It could be his bread. Only later on, it'll turn into hegdish. I'm trying to accommodate him. Oh. So if so, let's think about this. If that's the pshat. Hayoim kodesh. What about this bread is kodesh right now? It's hegdish. Can I make an eruv with it? No, it's hegdish. Ula machar chol. But I want to change its status tomorrow on Shabbos by redeeming it with money. I have money. I'm setting it aside to redeem this loaf of bread. I'm going to be able to eat this loaf of bread. I can redeem it from hegdish. That's not a problem. But tomorrow, l'chayr, if I'm going to go based on what he wants, what his intent is, what his ratzon is, so I should make it bichal. I should make the hegdish turn into a chayil in the beginning of Bein HaShmoshes. The opposite of before. Before, I'm going to make it hegdish at the end of Bein HaShmoshes, so I could have a chayil loaf of bread. Now I'm going to do it right away. I'm going to do the redemption in the beginning of Bein HaShmoshes, so it becomes my loaf of bread, and I... What? Not retroactive. I put a pile of money right over here. I say this money should redeem my bread tomorrow. But when is tomorrow? The beginning of Bein HaShmoshes or the end of Bein HaShmoshes? Well, in the first case we said tomorrow means at the end of Bein HaShmoshes, because I want to let this guy use his bread before it becomes hegdish. So in the beginning of and the eruv has to be chal during Bein HaShmoshes. So the beginning of Bein HaShmoshes, it's still his loaf of bread. For a moment, it's a good eruv, poof, it turns into hegdish. Over here, it's the reverse. Over here, I need him to be able to redeem the bread for a moment during Bein HaShmoshes. So let's do that all the way in the beginning of the Bein HaShmoshes. I'm going to flip it from hegdish to chayil. I'm going to use his money that he put aside to redeem his bread. It's going to turn into a weekday bread, a chayil, not weekday, but a versus hegdish. It's not hegdish anymore. It's his eruv, good eruv. Great. And that works in the beginning of Bein HaShmoshes and not at the end. It should. No, it's not a good eruv. Rabbi, I apologize for slichus. It's not happening. Says Gemara, but why? Doesn't it go by his intent? Maishna. Let's use his intent. What does this guy want? Amalei Rav Nachman said, I found this 4 times in Shas. It's also brought down on the side. All 4 times. 2 Arava, 2 Arav Barcham, I believe. And it's always Rav Nachman saying this. If you pay me enough salt, a whole quart of salt, I'll tell you the answer. Well, I should give it to you for free. But of course, it's a joke. It's just a saying. And he says it. He tells him the pshat. It's very simple. It doesn't go by his intent, Rabbi Isai. It goes by the chazakah. It's called chazakah mikara. What was the status beforehand? So in the first case, it was his bread. It remains his bread during Ben Hashmashas. In the second case, it was kodesh. It remains kodesh during Ben Hashmashas. You have a chazaka mikara, so it does not turn into hegdish. Hayom kodesh, but if it was already hegdish, it remains kodesh. Whatever it was, it remains. Tanan Asam in Masechtas Tful Yom it says, login Tful Yom. Tful Yom is the status after a person or a kli go to the mikvah to become tar. They don't become 100% tar. They have to wait until nightfall. But the only difference in status is that if they touch truma, that truma becomes pasul. Pasul. Nothing else. Just truma. So you have a tummy kli. You put in the mikvah, now you have to wait until nightfall. He takes this kli, fills it up. He fills it up with meiser tevel. So again, Rabbi Yisai, here we go. We don't want to be amaritzim. First you give truma gedola, then you give meiser rishon. Meiser rishon is 10% of all your produce. You give it to a Levi. The Levi must take 10% of his 10%, but he didn't. What happens when he doesn't? It's called tevel. Just like food that you didn't take truma gedola or meiser's tevel, this is also tevel. And if you eat it, you're chayiv misa. So he fills up a jug that's tamei, but not really tamei. It's the in-between status called tful yom. It was already dunked in a mikvah. It's just waiting for nightfall. And he fills it up with food. Does that food become tamei? No. Why not? Because it's not trumas and maisrus. It's tevel. It's right before trumas and maisrus. Excuse me. If it would be truma and meiser, truma would become tamei. That's what we said. The only thing that tful yom is metama is truma. But this is the step before that. It's meiser for a Levi, doesn't become tamei until he removes the 10% to give to the kayin, puts it in that tamei kli, then it becomes tamei. It's in there, but before the step of being mafresh it, not tamei. Says the Gemara, Shimilo menachavetz meiser tevel v'omar. He's a smart guy, this guy. Harezit trumas meiser. When should it happen? L'keshetechshach. After it's night and my kli becomes tar, then I want it to become trumas meiser, because then it won't become tamei anymore. Dvar of kayamim. It's chal. Why not? He could decide when it becomes truma. It should be chal tonight. However, but when does it become truma? After Shabbos comes in, it's too late. You can't make an eruv with it. It's already Shabbos. It has to be eruv right before Shabbos. Before Shabbos, it's also to eat. It's tevel. You eat it, you die. And he doesn't want to make it truma before Shabbos, because then it becomes tamei, because it's in a tamei kli. It's in a tful yom kli. So he's only going to wait until after Shabbos starts. Too late. No eruv. Amarava zoysoy meres soif hayom koine eruv. The end. When in Bein Hashmashas does the eruv chal? In the beginning of Bein Hashmashas. The end of the day, meaning the end of Friday. The tippy end of the last moment of Friday, the beginning of Bein Hashmashas. That's when eruv is chal. We're turning to Daf Lamed Vav on Beis. Love. Lili Nishmas, Asher's mother, Roiza Bas Binyamin. Make it a great day. We have an email about make it a great day, maybe tomorrow. And Lili Nishmas, the tzaddik, the doctor, Listhouse, his father, Mordechai Yosef ben Aaron Listhouse. Harry Shalom and Asher are jumping on the bandwagon, dropping the smartphone, Rabbi Yisai. Even if it means not to look at your phone and email people and text during Chazar Shashatz, which is a minute be Yisrael already in America came out, Hashem Yirachem. Just drop that. Forget about social media. Just drop the Chazar Shashatz part. Tremendous chusam. If you say it's the beginning of the day of Shabbos, meaning the tippy end of Bein Hashmashos, Yomi Eruvin amay lo yom klum. Now, why shouldn't it be chal? Says Rava. I have the whole point of Bein Hashmashos. Let's call Bein Hashmashos 20 seconds, whatever it is. I have those 20 seconds. If it's at the end of the 20 seconds of Bein Hashmashos, it's really clarifying according to what the reviews. If it's at the end, so I had a moment in time that I had an eruv. It was good. The food was mine. It was already Trumas and Mice was taken. It's not tevel anymore. I can use it. Amar Papa, not true. Even if you say that the Eruv is chal at the end of Ben Hashmashas, being in Suda Ruyim by Yom Veleka. Don't forget, you have to be able to eat it. So the Eruv is chal, great. It turned into food that you're able to eat. Could you literally, physically take a bite out of it and eat it? No. So since you can't eat it, it's not a good Eruv. Who cares that technically speaking it was yours? It was yours and you can't eat it. It's, like we said before, if you don't know which bread it is, you can't. It's not considered Eruv. Over here you can't eat it. Says the Mishnah. Brand new sugya. Mash, the brand new Masechta here. We're discussing the concept called Breira. Breira means, do I have the right to, here we go, Dr. Factor, retroactive. Use the word retroactive, you mechav into the Mishnah. Can I retroactively say which Eruv I want to use? Halachically speaking, I could only make one Eruv, one Tchum. I could only say I'm going in this direction. But what if I made two Eruvim on two opposite sides? So, I can only make one Eruv right over here, and maybe I could go in this direction. What if I decide I'm going to make two Eruv, one here and one over here, where there's an X? But when Shabbos comes in, I didn't decide which one I'm going to use. Later on, I'm going to decide I want to use this one. So retroactively, this one becomes batal u'mevutal ka'afar da'ara, throw this in the garbage and use this one. Or I'm going to use this one, throw this in the garbage, and I'm going to go that way. That's called breira. Can I go backwards retroactively, decide retroactively which one I want to use? Says the Mishnah, very simple stuff here. Masna Adam, I can make a tnai. And you could say, if those goyim are coming, the tax collectors are coming from the east, I got to get out of here. So I need to disappear to the west. If they're coming from the west, I don't know where they're coming. I heard they're coming, so let me make two Eruvim. Let me decide on Shabbos which one I want to use. And if they come from all directions, the surrounding me, right? We're not talking about life and death. We're just talking about the tax guy. New. He's not allowed to be Mechal Shabbos for that. So he makes a nice Eruv and he runs. And he stipulates four conditions here. In Bo Likan Likan, what if they come from both sides? Then I'll decide, then it's not dependent on where they come from. I'll decide then and there what direction I want to run to. Loy Bo, Loy Likan, Loy Likan. And what if they don't even show up? Then I want to stipulate a fourth condition. Hareini Kivnei Iri. Then there's zero Tchum. Imagine that. I could also say I don't want any of them. I'm not forced into one out of the two. Zero. And what if I have zero? Then I could go 2,000 amas in any direction I want. If I use any tchum, I'm limited to go in a certain direction. If they didn't show up, I want no tchum at all, no eruv at all. Then no eruv. I could go 2,000 amas, mizrach ma'ariv tzafin darim. I'm like anybody else without an eruv. In ba'chacham in a mizrach, what if a Talmid Chacham comes and I want to hear his drasha? Eruv. Now it's the opposite case. Now I want my Eruv to be chal. I'm not running away. I'm going in his direction. It's the same idea, just I want to go towards the person. Instead of running away from the person, in Bachacham min ha-mizrach Eruv il-mizrach, min ha-mayrav Eruv il-mayrav, balakan ulakan. What if the Talmid Chacham comes from, two Talmid Chacham come from both sides? La'makom she, I'll decide then and there which drush I want to listen to. Loy likan v'loy likan, hareini kivnei iri. Then I could decide not to make an Eruv at all. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, if one of them was his Rebbe, he must go towards his Rebbe. What if they were both his Rebbeim? Says Taisves. Even if one, what's the Chiddush here? Okay, you could go. Even if one of them is a Rabbi Muvak, a real strong Rebbe, he could go to the weaker one. Okay. No, that's what I said. Only a taxman. Sakana, there's no shaila. You don't need an Eruv. You run. Okay, we're almost finished. Rabbi Yitzchak, he learned it exactly fakert. That what? I'm running away from a Talmid Chacham and going towards the guy. What's pshat? How does that work? Kulam asnis in the whole Mishnah. Kasha nochim anochim, kasha chacham achacham. How does it fit into our Mishnah? Says the Gemara. Nochim anochim lekasha. Not a question. Ha befar hagbana. If there's a tax collector, I run for my life. This is not a new thing that they invented, where? That people run away from that. It's even in those days, used to run from the tax. The mayor of the city, you want to meet up with him. I don't care what religion he is. I need him to fix my potholes. I need him to give me schools. I need to talk to him. So I need to run towards him. Huh? Or her. Exactly. And V'shemesh is her. Chacham ha-chacham lo kasha. Ha b'moisef pirkei, this is hard to understand. A guy that gives a geshmak drosha I want to listen to. Ha b'makri shma, somebody that teaches children I don't want to listen to. The best pshat I saw was from the Aruch who says he's collecting tuition. I need to run. Fine. At any rate, there are people I run from, people I don't run from. The concept is understood. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, M'hoya echad mehem, v'Rabbanan zimnin d'nichalei b'chavrei tfei mirabei. And so Rabbanan say it doesn't matter. Sometimes I like my friend more than my Rebbe. It's a big yisoid. You know what? Let's stop here for slichas. It's a very short daf tomorrow, especially Amud Aleph. But boys, I have a wonderful day. If whoever wants to stick around for Tehillim, you could do so. If you want to go to slichas, you could do so as well.